imposing your will upon your money with the envelope system. Money, money, money. What if I told you that a budget is one of the best ways to reduce stress, bring peace to your household, and even improve your health? Stay with me here. I'm Kara from Health, Home, and Happiness, and today we're going to talk about my super low-tech, anxiety-proof way of budgeting that helps savers spend, tightwads relax, and spenders save. It provides a household tune-up for your financial situation. I am talking about the envelope system. The average American household pays over $2,000 a year in non-mortgage interest. This is not counting the interest that you're paying on your home. This is like consumer debt, car debt, student loan interest. What if you had that $2,000 to go on vacation instead? For many of us, we just need to button up a little bit and take control of our finances rather than letting them control us. By the end of this video, you're gonna know how to make money discussions a time of connection, excitement, and teamwork, and dare I say it, fun, whether it's on your own or with a partner that you share finances with. Click down below. I do have a downloadable worksheet so that you can follow along as I talk, and you can get started with your own super awesome, low-tech, stress-reducing envelope system. These simple envelopes work on the same process of your brain that video games and social media do, the reward center. Only now, instead of racking up Instagram likes or a high score in Tetris, you're gonna see how to keep money in your pocket, envelopes. What can money buy? Not happiness, no, but it can buy security and knowing that you can pay your bills on time with no problem. A vacation to rest and restore, sports programs and camps to teach kids teamwork, classes and supplies to engage in interesting hobbies, nourishing food to keep your body operating at peak performance, and a stink-free house from being able to cover an emergency plumber's visit on the weekend. No, I didn't come up with this, and if you've heard of Dave Ramsey, he didn't come up with it either, as much as I like him. This is probably the method of household budget keeping that your grandmother and great-grandmother used, and for good reason. Just like we're seeing the wisdom in avoiding overly processed foods and taking breaks from our technology, it's absolutely worth it to go back a few generations and model some or most of our budgeting after what our great-grandparents did. Next up are instructions on how to get you started telling your money what to do and making a game out of it with the envelope system. Download the worksheet and you'll know what I'm talking about. So start with how much money you make each month and then subtract out the bills. What's left is attributed to both savings and our envelopes. For your envelopes, and this is what we're going to be talking about now, start with your highest priority and then looking at your last month's bank statement or credit card statement, see what you're spending your money on. You keep going down your priority list, subtracting out what you need for each envelope until you get to a zero. Your highest priority, let's go over this, is shelter, which that's not going to be in your envelope. Shelter is going to be coming from your bank account. That's a bill that we subtract out. Next would be utilities, also a bill that we're probably subtracting out. And then food. You need to make your food envelope. As you go through the envelope system and you make up your envelopes, remember that you're allocating everything to either savings or bills or envelopes. You can have a miscellaneous envelope to get to zero, and this keeps you accountable. Telling your money what to do rather than reacting to your bank balance is the first step in a successful envelope system. Divide big sums into 2 or 4 envelopes so that you don't accidentally run out of something like grocery money by the 10th of the month. And also so that you don't accidentally leave $300 in cash at the register at Costco because you're frazzled with your 2 toddlers. Yep, I did that. Luckily, people in Montana are pretty honest. Your number of envelopes will vary as you refine what works for you. If groceries can go for detergent, toilet paper, and anything else you need at a grocery type store, then that's great. If hair care or cleaning products start taking up a disproportionate amount of the money that should be going towards food, it may make sense to have a non-food groceries and a food envelope. You can call them whatever you want. If you're buying a lot of specialty ingredients for trying new dishes at the expense of your staples, you may want an envelope just for that. This envelope system is super awesome for both spenders and savers in a relationship. If you are a spender, you have easy limits set up to keep you from overspending and undersaving. You'll get immediate feedback on that impulse purchases are not going to work for you, and you'll stop spending when the money is gone from the envelope, not when it's gone from your checking account. It's the same behavior you probably have been doing. We're just lowering it down to a level that it doesn't result in you being broke. You're not alone. Most Americans spend until their checking account is super low, or even worse, their credit card is on the verge of being maxed out. If you're a saver, you can learn to let loose, much to the appreciation of the spender in your relationship, and go out to eat, see a movie, or or purchase new gym shoes for the kids without the subtle anxiety that you're not going to have enough to cover bills or save for emergencies. If you're a saver, you may subtly be projecting onto your family that your money situation is out of control and unintentionally making them feel bad for having needs. This isn't good for relationships, and that's not good for you either. By working together, come up with the totals. It improves communication. If you have a budgeter in your family, you may find that they tend to take over the finances. Hello. And then explain it all to the less budget-minded partner. This doesn't work. Take time to slow down and listen to each person as you come up with your envelope numbers. This is the key to making the envelope system work in every family with both spenders and savers. Think of this as your new favorite, probably bi-monthly team building exercise. Envelope totals can always be revised. If you have a lot of moving parts in your household with inconsistent incomes or variable expenses, you're going to want to have an envelope planning meeting at the start of each month where you can see what's in the envelopes going into the month and decide where you're going to allocate your money for that month. You're going to stop having more month than money, and you're going to start telling your money what to do. Here are some tips as you set up your first envelope system. First of all, when you're making your envelopes, make them in increments of 20. This means if you need to just go run out and go get your cash out of your bank account to fill your envelopes out of an ATM, you're not like stuck trying to come up with $25 or $30. Ask your bank to raise your limit if you're using ATMs, or go into a bank and take cash out that way. That's also a great way to get tens and fives. You don't need envelopes for everything, just what you either chronically overspend on or chronically don't save enough for. Fuel for the car, utilities, Netflix, taxes, etc. don't need their own envelope. We have envelopes for groceries. This one is grocery week 4. I have 4 envelopes for the different months of groceries, and I will kind of borrow or roll over my grocery spending, but overall I want to make sure I'm not accidentally spending all my grocery money at the beginning of the month. We have a car repairs envelope, kids school stuff, so just like those field trip forms that you need to do here and there, or just like the little incidentals you've got to do for their sports and stuff. Having an envelope is more a convenience thing than a budgeting thing for us. Gifts, clothing, a bulk food purchase. So it's called my elk envelope because Ryan goes hunting and then we pay for processing, and we also pay out of our elk hunting envelope for anything he needs for hunting. We also have an eating out envelope, and the eating out like entertainment, so that can go for dinner and a movie. That's for us. We have a kid fun envelope, so if I take the kids out to the hot springs, that covers our charge to go into the hot springs, or if we do like the paint your own pottery place, that comes out of the family or the kid entertainment envelope. And then we do have a miscellaneous envelope for just those unexpected things, like a screen protector for your phone. It's just like one of those off the wall things that don't happen every month. The miscellaneous envelope covers that without getting in that habit of swiping that debit card and then suddenly your bank balance is way lower than you would like it to be. In general, the more tight your financial situation, the more envelopes you'll have. If you have trouble paying your car registration when it comes around, have a car registration envelope. If you find yourself consistently putting Christmas gifts on a credit card or birthday gifts on a credit card, have a Christmas and birthday envelope. Personal spending money, and this is not in an envelope, but it is using the envelope system. This is everyone's favorite part for more reasons than you're going to expect. This is for shared finances, but if you are working together on a budget, each adult in the household gets an equal amount of personal spending money each month, no matter how much you make. This keeps you from feeling like you have to discuss every $5 purchase with your partner and be in complete agreement over every little nickel and dime, which is exhausting and it ends up feeling controlling, especially to usually the saver in the relationship. Personal spending money is cash that we take out at the beginning of the month when we're filling up our envelopes and we keep in our wallets, and it's good for like if we go out to coffee, it's good if we see something that we want for our hobby, it's good if we're going out for an activity with friends. There is one more thing I want to mention about spending money. Some people have a hard time spending money on themselves and their desires. This is a recipe for burnout. Occasionally treating others with your spending money is a fun thing to do, but as a form of self-care, you really need to buy what you want. So don't forget yourself with your spending money. Spending money is for your hobbies, for unpractical things that you like, for things that you want that don't fit into any other envelope, or really things that don't fit into your budget right now. It is not to give all to charity to buy your children's whims. You can definitely have an envelope for kid toys if you want, or to cover extra groceries if you're distracted and your grocery total is higher than the grocery envelope. If you do all of those things that I just said not to do with your personal spending money, that is a recipe for resentment. It's guaranteed to make the rest of your family miserable. Another note is if you are covering what should be covered out of envelopes out of your personal money, it's likely that you are you're either not being honest with yourself about what you spend each month, or you're avoiding communication, self-control, and possibly difficult conversations about why you need an increase in groceries. So those are not good signs. They are definitely a sign that something needs to be improved with communication. Is just if you see that your personal spending money is going towards things that really should be allocated from the envelopes. If you're running into resistance from a reluctant budgeter, one of the biggest ways that you can get them on board and in the habit of using envelopes is to be generous with spending money. This may seem unnecessary for the tightwad of the relationship, which really would probably prefer to increase the savings a little bit over increasing the spending money, but it does get the spender of the relationship in the habit of having limits around finances. So if things do need to get more tight, they're already in the habit of having those habits. That's the thing, right? The habit of having those habits. As you're getting started on your envelopes, you can take out money each paycheck if you're paid weekly, or right when you get paid as you get paid monthly, and then fill your envelopes from there. If you're paid more often, you can make it a goal to be able to fund your envelopes at the beginning of the month, but that's not something that you need to wait to implement the envelope system until you can do. The first couple months having an envelope system, and remember there is that worksheet down below, I will help you get this all set up. The first couple months are a bit of a learning curve, but within 3 to 6 months, you're gonna have some nice padded envelopes and start making some bigger purchases without stress or living in crisis mode. Objections. Yes, I have probably heard them, and I'm going to answer all of the objections I usually hear. If you have something I'm not covering, comment down in the comment section, and I am super happy to try and get you on this anxiety-proof, stress-reducing, super simple, you can start it today, envelope system budget. Okay, cashback credit cards, and this is the first one. If you're getting $14 cash back or you're getting $30 cash back, that's not covering the accidental $150 you just spent at Target because you went in there for one thing and came out with $157 worth of Target stuff. This is where envelopes really come into play, is that impulse decision, those impulse purchases, they just don't happen because it's not in your envelope. So getting 2% cash back when you accidentally spend an extra $150 at Costco, an extra $150 at Target, an extra $20 3 days a week at the gas station or on fast food is not a financially wise decision. But there's budgeting apps that do the same thing. But the physical envelopes are really what makes the dopamine hit of having that padded envelope, the just like having it physically in your possession. And so yes, if you have to go back and drive home from the grocery store a couple times because you forgot your envelope, yes, like maybe you do have your debit card with you and the app would have worked in that situation, but really you're just gonna keep swiping and overspending. Those apps don't have nearly the amount of powerful money saving ability as these envelopes do. The simplicity of the envelopes is also an advantage over those apps. It's very simple. There's no excuses. There's no, oh, well, I have to learn how to figure out that technology. It's just very simple. There's either money in there or it's not. There's no impulse spending. There's no way to overdraft anything. There is just envelopes and the money that's in it. Impulse spending, if that does happen, because it will happen from time to time, it comes out of your personal spending money, which is also called blow money, which people never cease to be amused by. I do this with my children. It's a much simplified version. If they work, they get to keep half of their money to just spend on whatever. I keep the other half as something that they can spend later on as an income producing thing. So if they get a truck to drive to work, if they need to pay for a class to do a trade, or if they go to college, they are welcome to their long-term savings, their income producing savings. Like if they shovel the driveway and they get $5 for that, they don't get to just spend that $5. And I've got a kid that has a good amount of resistance. He loves it. He loves knowing what's in that envelope that I actually keep, his long-term money producing savings envelope. He is perfectly happy taking like the $2.50 or $2. Like a lot of times he'll just give me $3 from a $5 job and spending that on whatever it is that 11-year-old boys spend their money on. Those are our objections that I usually hear, is that I get cash back or I get rewards on my credit card. Rewards probably don't cancel out or come anywhere close to your impulse spending. There's apps that do the same thing. Again, there's nothing like real paper money. There's a finite thing with the paper money. The apps are just pretend and you know it. And yes, you can do this with kids. Now I want you to trade off the instant gratification and the very simple fleeting pleasure of blowing $75 or $100 at Target on stuff you won't need and are just cluttering up your house, or impulse spending on food that rots in the bottom of your fridge, and level up your lifestyle. You take that $75 that you would have accidentally spent or overspent, and then you put that into another savings account for a good vacation. You put it into a savings account to upgrade your furniture, and watch how $75 of savings a week is so easy to manage once you have your cash in these envelopes, and how quickly your envelopes build up and how quickly your savings accounts build up. It really does feel good to be able to go in for a needed car repair without a pit in your stomach. It's exciting to take your envelopes to the repair shop and boom, your brakes are paid for in cash, and you probably have some money left over.